Hey everybody, thought I would just drop a quick video about AP testing that starts next week, just in case you're not sure, you have any questions. The first test, big test on Monday is the government test. So if you're online and you're going, hey, I can just do this online, right? No, you need to show up for AP tests. 7:15, get your butt in the building. If you're an online kid, you might not know this, but you can eat for free here. That's paid for. There's no issue. You just grab what you want and you're done. So if you want to eat breakfast, you can be here a little earlier. Gym 2 is going to be where all the major AP tests are. There are only 2 tests that aren't scheduled for Gym 2. When you come in, you're probably going to have to go through the big double doors that lead to the main gym hallway. You'll go around the back, and they'll probably have you come in through the back door of Gym 2 would be my guess. Make sure to bring an ID with you. This could be a student ID, a driver's license, have something. They're going to have you put all your devices in your bag, phone, smartwatch, pieces like that. So if you're somebody that wants to try to keep track of time, remember they will have it projected. But if you want to keep track on time, you're going to need a dumb watch, not a smartwatch. You can have water at your table. College Board tests really restrict that. So you can have water, and then you can put any kind of snacks in your bag and get them out at the break during tests. So just kind of plan ahead. It's a mental strain. It's tough. Gym 2 is really temperamental. So make sure to dress in layers. It can be hot. It can also be super cold. So just make sure you are prepared. For AP tests, you need a pencil and a blue or black ink pen. Consider what you like to write with. This sounds really dumb. We've been working online for months. So you're like, oh, I know. Cheap Bic ballpoint pens are probably what they are going to have down there if you don't bring a pen. For some people, they don't write very neatly with them. For some people, they smudge really easily. If you prefer a gel ink pen, think about, something as stupid as, hey, what's the number on it? Can I get it? Can I get it? This is 7. But sometimes people like the finer point pens, the 5s. So just give it some thought. What do you like to write with? What makes your handwriting neatest? That's what's most important. Be aware that if you arrive after 8 o'clock, you're out. There's no option. They're not going to start you late. You're just not testing that day. Now, there are some backup options, but I'm going to tell you this about lit test, about any of the tests. Don't take the later administrations. You want to be there on test day. On the paper test, they can control the questions really well. On the online test, they have to make multiple versions of those questions. And so the difficulty is going to go way up and the quality, I think, is going to go down. So just be aware, you want to be here on time for your test. It's as far as our test is on Wednesday of next week. That's the 5th. Some things to think about. First, on the multiple choice part, scoring is about score accumulation. We want you to get the most number correct. And so you need to start to think about what your strengths are. When we're talking about that, do you do better on poetry questions or prose questions? Do you do better on pre-20th century or more modern texts? Once that hour starts with a multiple choice, open that booklet, flip through it, and look at what all 5 passages are so that you kind of go, okay, this one is one that I should be good at. Let's go there. If you can't tell the difference in it, you can tell a more modern text because it will have a copyright at the end of it. So if you see copyright information, it'll give you a date, title, author, all those lovely MLA formatted pieces. So make sure to look for that because it can be really helpful to key you into what we're looking for. Once that hour goes by for that multiple choice portion, let me mention this about the multiple choice too. We haven't done paper tests in a while. I have a very big fear this is going to happen to someone. So listen very closely. All of your answers have to be on the Scantron sheet or the answer booklet. I'm really afraid. I mean, you guys have been trained well by STAR, but I'm really afraid that what's going to happen is somebody's going to answer all in their booklet, and then they're going to call an hour, and they're going to look up and be like, I have nothing on my Scantron. Yeah, that's not going to be a good situation. So make sure you are putting your answers on the Scantron with each one. It's really stupid, I know, to have to say this out loud, but still, you're going to get a break between the 2 sections. Once we start section 2, it's 2 hours, 3 essays. So the first thing you should do, we don't get a 15-minute reading period on this test. So read all 3 essays. That lets you make the choice about where you want to start. Think about how you're going to work best. You've just done an hour of multiple choice, so the mental strain is going to be real. Do you want to do your hardest essay up front? Do you want to do the essay that you know you're going to score really well on based on trends? Totally at your pick on how you do this. So think about how you work best as a student. Be aware you need to limit your time, especially if you're one of these online kids that I get these like 3-page timed writings. You're not fooling anybody. You're spending a lot more than 40 minutes to write it. And if you are only spending 40 minutes, like, bless you, you're like a freak of nature. You're genius. I'm so impressed. But you're probably spending a lot more than 40 minutes. So they're going to make an announcement every 40 minutes that they suggest you move on to the next question. Use that as your gauge. Maybe if you haven't moved on, give yourself like no more than 2-3 minutes to wrap it up and go on. When you get to question 3 and you look at it, cover the list of books and stuff. Don't look at it. Instead, read the question and think, which piece have we read this year that works well? I built the curriculum to write this question. So there should be things that will work well to answer it. Don't get lured in by a book from a previous year that you're like, oh, I think I could use this. You're going to forget details. You're not going to have that knowledge. You're going to get frustrated. Pick something that we read this year. You're going to do much better with it. I promise. And then, especially with it, slow down as you're writing and write neatly. They can reward what they can read, and they want to reward you on this. They remind graders that our purpose here is to reward students for what they do well. But if they can't read it, they can't reward you for it. So take your time. Lastly, a thought just for the test as a whole, our test, any AP test, right? These are time tests. You have to be ready to go. In that first second that this test starts, you can get beat really easily because ultimately students choose to react rather than act. And by reacting, they look at the clock, they get freaked out about time. Now the clock's won. They react. Instead, I want you to think about acting as you take this test. Take action. Take charge. Know what you're going to do and be purposeful in the choices that you make. Regardless of what score comes in July, I don't care. If I see you out in public, well, for most of you, I won't know who you are because I've never seen your face before. But if I see you out in public and I happen to know you, don't shy away from me because you feel like, oh, I was a failure. I didn't do well on that test. Look, that score doesn't matter. That score is one day out of an entire year. I'm super proud of the work that most everybody has put in this year. You know, if you've made it to this point in the course, like, give yourself a pat on the back. We started out with a lot more people and we've shed a lot of dead weight as we've gone through. So if you're still here with me, kudos. I'm proud of you. Regardless of how you do on this test, you're going to walk into a college English class if you have to take it and you're going to friggin' ace it. And yeah, part of that is me being bold enough to say, I've taught you really well. You know your stuff. Like, you'll be fine. So don't let any kind of score on this determine anything about you. Who cares? It's one day. It's one test. You do well? Good. Great. You don't have to pay for the class in college. You don't do well? It'll be all right. You know, I didn't do great. I got a 3 on this test. So UTA didn't want to give me credit. But had I not taken the class in college, I wouldn't be sitting here. Who knows what I'd be doing? You know, life has a way of working out. So at the end of the day, you'll be fine. If you have questions on testing still, hit me up. Let me know. Good luck.